guys and gals, down here working on this cement pad. Got a concrete breaker here for the skid steer. I'm knocking a trench out on the back along that old foundation so we can set some posts in there. Now, I'm not for sure if I'm putting cattle down here yet or not, but I am going to put a row of posts back here to build a wall. Whether cattle go down here or we keep piling feed down here, I want a wall so I can, if it's just feed down here, so I can keep the deer out of my silage all winter long. If we put cattle down here, that'll be the back wall of the new shed. So, let's see, we got this all busted up. And then what I'm going to do is take all these concrete chunks out of here and throw them in these old gutters. You can see that one's dug out. This one needs to be dug out. But from here up to where the water starts, I have cinder blocks in there. So I want to fill that all in. And then I'll probably pour concrete over top of them chunks. And then over here, we'll dig that all out and we'll pour concrete in there when we're done. If I put cattle on here, I'm going to probably have to pour a new pad over top of this pad. But I think a guy could get by with like 3.5 inches of concrete with fiber in it. And then over here, I think that'll be just fine, just leaving it the way it is. So, I got to get this all laid out for the next row. But I'm sitting here undecided whether I'm going to knock out this row for the posts or if I'm going to hold off. I'm going to go grab the skid steer and knock a hole at the end of that foundation wall so I can set a post in there, because if I put silage on here, I want to set a post here and then a post right here, and then this is dirt over here. Set some posts. I may have to set a post right in here, so I might have to knock a hole in here. But set a post there, probably a couple long back here, so the concrete stops right here. So that way I can build like a wall right in here too, so you know when to stop with where you're pushing silage or whatever. And I don't know how I'm gonna do the wall for sure. If I'm gonna put silage here, I'm probably gonna put 2x6s or 2x8s and then put OSB board and then put plastic over top of it, so it kind of, there's a barrier between the silage and the plastic, kind of make it like a bunker wall, kind of contain everything. But here you can see foundation right there, and I broke that piece off. But if I'm going to build a cattle shed here, I've got to go from the edge of this concrete another 50 feet over for the herd size. So I'm not exactly for sure. That's why I might just post at the end and just say piss on it. Put silage down here on this cement, and got an idea on how to build a shed up here. It's a little bit different than I had explained before. Instead of building a monoslope shed going this way, I might build a shed going this way, and then make it 36 feet wide, divided down the center, so the steers have one half, the cows have the other half. But then on each side put a lean-to coming off where I can put hay in one and bedding in the other. And then where the corn picker and stuff is out there, that could all be the cow lot. And then where the edge of the shed is here, I'd pour concrete, and I could kind of have drive-by feeding, or make the concrete wider and have drive-through feeding with a bottomless bunk in there. And I'd probably come off of the old calving barn there, come out to the edge of the concrete that the steers are on now, and then kind of pour it at an angle, and have an entryway here where I could drive through and feed into a bunk with a TMR, and then pull back out the other side. And the reason I'm kind of leaning towards this is because I'll have a bigger lot for the steers to be in. It won't just be the 12 foot or 14 foot wide that would be down there. I could always put a steer stuffer in here, because I'm kind of leaning towards going back to a steer stuffer. I've never finished beef cattle on a steer stuffer. It's only Holsteins. And I'm kind of leaning towards that. That way I can fill a steer stuffer every few days, put a bale of hay out there or whatever, and it make more room that way. And then the return right there, that door would automatically come right back to their pen. So I don't know for sure. We kind of want to build a new shed for bedding and hay anyways. So if I did it this route, it would cost me less because I'd already have a bunch of the posts, you know, being you're already building a cattle shed. So, and post wise, going from that idea to this idea, I'm not going to save any on posts. It'd be the same amount of posts because the plan is to put the posts same spacing as they would be here. So I wouldn't be saving any money on the cattle shed, but when it comes to building a lean-to for the bedding and the hay, that's where the savings would come in. So I'm not for sure yet. I kind of like the idea up here better because then when we get the camera system all hooked up, it'd be a lot easier. But I don't know for sure. But anyways, I'm going to grab the skid steer. We're going to knock 2 more holes in this concrete so I can set some posts in the end, because I have a feeling we're going to put silage on there again this fall. And we got an inch of rain yesterday. So my sorghum, we tedded it out the other day because we got 2/10 of an inch of rain on it. So it's out there nice and soaked. And I have hay cut over at the rental ground. I have hay cut up on the corner. So tomorrow, it's supposed to be sunny through Friday. Probably going to get it all tedded out, and I might actually round bale it all. So I guess we'll see what happens between now and Friday, but I may actually just round bale instead of chop it. But I think what we're going to do is second cutting on it. We're going to time it around the same time as chopping corn. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all my fields that have sorghum in, the one over there and the alfalfa field over there that I didn't, at first cutting, I didn't harvest it. I just cut it and left it lay because it was mostly rye. So I just cut it and basically the rain beat it to the ground anyways, and we put manure on it. Now the alfalfa's back up 8-10 inches in there. So that might be hay, but then the 7 acres on the other side that has sorghum in it, I might cut that. Cut this 3 acres of sorghum. And then depending if I keep grazing that 2-acre piece back there, I might cut that at the same time. Like cut it, you know, 2-3 days before we chop corn silage. Then I'll chop all my corn silage, put the hay head back on the chopper, go and chop all that sorghum stuff, and put it over top of the corn silage and just make one pile. Otherwise I don't know where I'm going to put it. That's the one thing with putting the cattle up here. I was going to put the silage in this area, but I don't know. Not for sure. But if we keep the silage down here, I talked to the guy that digs shale out at the next farm up the road to see how much it would cost to have a bunch of loads brought in here to kind of level this out. Because if I build a wall on the backside and I get this leveled out, I might put posts all the way back here and then make it so I can put silage all along here. Undecided on that yet. Money talks and BS walks, and right now I don't have the money, so I don't know what's going to happen. Haven't worked on this yet because I still have steers in there. Half of them are spoken for to be butchered this fall, so nothing's probably going to happen with that until they go to the meat locker, because it's really a pain to work with them in your way. And honestly, it's been too hot to work on any shed roofs right now anyway. So anyways, I'm gonna grab the Go Vision glasses, jump on the skid steer, and we'll go punch 2 holes in this concrete. Well, it says we're recording, so hopefully we're recording. So I want to knock a hole at the end of that wall for a post, because I'm probably going to take some 1/4 inch steel, bend it into a 90, and make brackets to mount posts on top of this wall. So I can either put 2x or whatever on there to keep the deer out from getting into the silage pile, kind of the same as I'm going to do there. But on that wall, I'm going to put steel on the outside, so they can't try and get between the boards. And on this side, I'm probably going to end up putting 2x and then putting cattle panels on it, unless I decide to put 2x with treated plywood and then drape plastic over top of it to make it a bunker wall, but I don't know that it's going to really support, which is fine. If I mount it like this, I don't need it to be that high here. So anyways, we're going to knock a hole in this right now. Hopefully my handles stay locked on here. The slots on the bottom of this concrete breaker aren't far enough out, so my handles don't want to cam over and latch, so it's been kind of a pain, but it's what happens when you rent stuff that's, you know, it is what it is.
So it's not beat down the black seat. You don't burn your ass when you get back in. Should be right in line with that gutter. Like I say, from that gutter to there is 12 feet, and from there to there is between 20 to 22. So there's enough I can set a post at the end here. So if I put silage on here, I'll set a post here, set a post there, probably 2 more there over to that corner. And then I'll have a gate right here that I can get in to get silage or come out with chopper boxes. this concrete's a little bit thicker. Boy, I wish they would have poured the whole thing this thick. That's another reason I don't know if I put cattle on here, and if I do, I almost got to pour concrete over top because the whole back stuff I busted out was only about 3 inches thick. So, but yep, I should be good here. Should be able to dig a hole right here and set a post right there, and set another post at the other end, and then like I say, I'm probably going to mount posts on top of here. Otherwise, I'm going to get square tubing and flat stock, drill holes in there, put concrete bolts down through that I can put gates on. But I kind of like the idea of the post better. But who knows, I guess we'll price it all out and see what the cost difference is. But I'm kind of leaning towards building a new shed up there. That way I can use the walls, the outsides of it for lean-tos. And who knows, maybe I'll put the cattle in the lean-to and put the bedding and stuff in the middle, or vice versa. I don't know, I just think it's going to give me more options that way. So, and then I'll be able to see the cows from the house from where they're going to be. So like during calving and stuff, the plan is to get the cameras all hooked up, but I'll still be able to look out in the pasture and see them from the house. So I think we're going to end up doing that. It's probably going to stay silage, but what my plan is like I say, to build this up, get this crap out of here, build this up, and then keep that wall going and curve it around. So I have that wall to keep the deer out of my feed, and then I'll end up building something else, and I'll probably set another post over here and put gates coming in, and then keep the going that way, and I can put, you know, rye on it or whatever. Because the plan is to chop rye, and what I'm hoping to do with my whole triple cropping thing, which we'll discuss one of these days, is to chop the rye, chop the sorghum. But I think I'm going to chop the sorghum around the same time that I chop corn, and put it over top of my corn silage and just have one pile of that. And then, but you guys aren't going to really hear me. Because this camera, the audio gets so goofy from the skid steer engine, which I do not understand why. But anyways, that way I can have, a plan is to chop the rye in the spring, get it all off, get the corn planted, whatever else. So the plan is just to have one rye pile, and then if I can chop the sorghum around the same time as the corn silage, put it all in one pile. That's the plan. And then all the other corn, I'm just going to combine, open up fields, get the corn that I want to grind for high moisture corn for winter feed, then pick all the rest for cob corn, go into steer stuff for all summer for the steers, fats. So triple crop, we'll talk about that one of these other days, the thing I'm going to try for next year. But like I say, if I extend that out this way, you know, that pile could be twice as long, or it can be the same length, and I could put another pile right here, and then, you know, just have it so I can keep the damn deer out, because I'm not going to keep feeding them every winter. They cost me a lot of feed last year. I can't afford to keep paying the government's herd. I got neighbors that won't shoot doe or anything, and I'm not going to keep feeding the deer that they won't shoot. If they don't want to manage the herd, then they better plant something to start feeding them during the winter, because I'm not. So that's kind of why I want to build this shed somehow where I can have lean-tos on it, where either cattle can go in the lean-to or cattle can go in the main part of the shed, and then hay and bedding in the lean-to that way. I can close that off too, because I'm sure it'll become where if they can't get the silage piles, then they're going to want to start eating hay, and I'm not going to feed them. That happened with silage bales one year. I had silage bales rolled up back there, and all of a sudden the deer poked holes in it in one bale, found out there was baleage inside there. Then they went and they started poking holes in all the bales. And I used to have the cow lot and the steer lot at the edge of the concrete, and it came all the way back and had a lane that went out back like this and looped around. We ended up in that center part bringing all the baleage in the middle of winter and putting in there and putting 2 gates up so the deer couldn't get to them. And there were deer tracks all the way around the yard. I'm trying to figure out how to get in there to them. So I'm done with that. I'm gonna spend the money on walls and gates and whatever else to keep them things out. I'll build the building so I can put hay and stuff inside and not have to deal with stupid tarps, and that's the plan. So I don't know, what do you think of a shed like that? What would you do, cattle in the middle part or in the lean-tos on it? You know, I'm thinking the lean-tos because then it gives me more for building up bedding pack in the wintertime. But I don't know. Anyways, we're knocking holes in concrete today. Go down and get some posts one of these days and start setting some posts.